Hey guys, welcome back to my Project 74SS clone. We've had some things go on in the last 5 days, one of which is my family went on vacation, so I was gone over the weekend. But we got some progress done. It seems like major progress has slowed. Last update, we had completely done the front suspension, which was a lot of work, um, but it yielded a lot of visual progress. Last couple of days have just been a lot of smaller things, but still got some good stuff done. I have an update on the suspension, and I'll show you what happened there. But it's something to think about, especially if you do it like I did it. You're probably going to run into the same issue, and you're going to have to do the same thing I did. So let's take a walk around and see what we've done the last couple of days. So if we look, we mounted up the steering column, got that refurbished, got the steering wheel mounted in there. That's just some piddly stuff. But if we look up front here, we can see that the front control arms are all in. That sway bar still has not been hooked up yet. So I want to talk about what happened with the ride height and the camber that was showing. This thing was cambered out to the nth degree. What had happened was I put my springs up in the pockets, aligned them up correctly, and then when I let the tension off of them and then pushed the lower control arm up, the spring had actually migrated its way to the outside of the spring pocket, and it wasn't actually sitting in the recess. So that was putting a lot of excess tension on the spring. The spring had a real big curve to it if you looked at it from the front. Now, what I had to do was I ended up coming in here with a small jack handle. It was really easy, just stick it right through the shock hole, and one good whack with a small mallet, and that it popped, bing, and went right in place. And that happened on both of them. So I moved on to the brakes after that. When it came to the brakes, I had ordered up a set of new rubber hoses, but I had bought them from the local auto parts store, and the profile of the bracket mount was not the same. It didn't fit. Now, I ordered up all new hoses because last time I was driving this car, I had a really low pedal. I couldn't figure out what was going on. And of course, I can't see it while I'm driving or in the driver's seat, and nobody was around to help. So I thought maybe one of these hoses was starting to bow out in a spot and I couldn't see it, so I just ordered new ones. Turns out that wasn't the case, so I'm not really worried about putting those old hoses back on. They look in good shape. They're not cracked. They're not rotted. They're nice and flexible still. I replaced the rubber or the copper washers, but those should be good to go. This is a new stainless line going under the cross member, so that's new. That I actually put in before I slung the motor, and I had the forethought to do that, thank God, because I don't know how I would do that, or it would be a huge pain in the butt. Looking up here, we got our master cylinder. This is from Right Stuff Detailing. The brake lines, they were pretty good. Not bad. It kind of looks like junk, but I mean, it didn't look that great from the factory either. So as far as those brake lines curled up right there, everything went together pretty good. Now, I will say that I did paint this master cylinder. This isn't natural. It's with a silver metallic paint. I'll have to look. I can put it in the description if I find the can. But it makes it look pretty good. Sorry, you can hear my son in the background. I think he's working something nasty out. He's 3.5 months old, so he's got a lot of that going on. He's my co-pilot here in the morning times when it's time to work in the garage and he's awake. But we got that all mounted up. We got the rod adjusted inside for the pedal. I remember I had to tell you we had to wait a couple of days on that just because I had to refurbish that. It was rusted pretty good, so I had to clean that all up and paint it before throwing it in. Other than that, we're looking As far as the brakes, I did have to start, last night I started on this, bending up a new line from the front to the rear. I did not get one with my kit, so I had to get some rough line and start bending it up. I am about 1.5 feet short going to the back axle. So I'm gonna have to grab up another piece of this to finish bending that. But that's the only steel line that's gonna be on the car. I got the back lines to the left and right, new stainless lines. So those will be all new stainless lines. I got a new rubber hose for the back as well. So those will be all good to go. The clutch was next. I started working on the clutch. Now I already had the clutch mounted inside the transmission. So I had to work on mounting the master cylinder to the firewall and getting the system bled. So this is the Hydromax system, and the nice thing about this system is it has an adjustable pivot right here to where you can make this go at whatever angle. So how this works is the actual Wilwood cylinder is mounted to this bracket that pivots on this mounting point. Now this mounting point has 6 threaded holes in it. The instructions specify you have to use at least 3 of them, and I was able to get 3. On the other side of the firewall, there is another very thick bracket, a plate that sandwiches the firewall. Now, if you remember on the last video that I showed you this section, I had a mechanical linkage going through here with just the boot. I did not have the block off plate here. I don't know where it went. I don't know if I threw it away, if the previous owner threw it away. I don't know if it was there when I did the conversion last time, but I don't have it. So I ended up fabricating my own bracket out of some spare aluminum that I had. And what a pain, because that's a lot of holes to try to get right, especially when you don't have a drill press. But somehow I managed to get it right. It's in there, it's solid, it feels good. Bleeding this system, I started to get really worried because I was pumping and pumping and pumping, and I wasn't getting any bubbles out of the reservoir. It took a while. It said about 10 to 15 minutes, but I think I was right at that 15-minute mark when it started bubbling and I started to feel some pedal pressure. Now, I'm hoping that's the fork springs on the clutch start wearing in, because right now it still is pretty stiff, and I'm hoping my knee is gonna do okay. My knee and hip is gonna do okay with it. We'll see. I'm pretty sure it will wear in a little bit. I did get the power steering pump mounted. Now I could not find anywhere locally that I could source a pulley for the old style pumps. You can order one online, but they're really expensive. I was really hoping to source one through the junkyard, but I went with a newer style pump. Still lines up, all the brackets line up and everything. But it just has a different pulley, and that pulley I can get from the auto parts store for like 25 bucks. So I went ahead and went with that one. Let me see. I don't think anything else has changed. I have the e-brake bracket there. That's been reconditioned, and I'll be throwing that in shortly. But looking ahead, I have to finish up that brake line, and then bleed all the brakes, and then we'll be stopping. I have a lot to go. I don't have a lot of stop. So once that that brake line gets connected and back, and I get those 2 lines changed out, the brakes should be done. No word yet on fenders, core support, and hood. Those should be coming here in the next few weeks. I'm really hoping he gets those done fairly quickly. I noticed I got a lot of tire rub up front here when I'm turning the tires, but these are a 225, I think 55. Yeah, these are a 225 55, so that's a pretty tall tire for the front, um, and a decently wide tire. I'm thinking if I go with like a 225 50 or like a 215 50 or something like that, we won't rub. But I did notice that I'm just under 3 turns lock to lock on the steering box, so I do have a faster ratio box, um, and I think the turning radius is pretty good. Um, so I don't think I'm going to mess with that. I did make some adjustments to that box just to tighten it up a little bit, but you know, I think I'm going to run it. I don't think I'm going to upgrade to a different box just yet, my son. But I think that's it for now. It is getting to the point where I'm going to have to start thinking about doing some wiring, and working on this interior. There's already some sound deadening up top here, some of the Noiko stuff, and I ended up getting more of that. The body guy put this Noiko stuff up here because the hood or the roof pan was flexing a lot when he was trying to block it out, and that's actually part of one of the imperfections is in that ceiling pan. There's a couple of low spots that, I mean, it's just he could hardly block it because it was so flimsy. So he ended up doing some stuff with the filler material that he ended up using up there, to kind of help strengthen that up and at the same time make it a little bit flexible, so that it didn't chip away. But I'm going to start working on getting the wiring in next, I think. After I finish up with those brakes, I think I'm going to start working on wiring, because I know it's going to be a big job. I got a whole new harness from American Auto Wire. It's their classic update kit for 69 to 72, I think it is, or 68 to 72. So there's going to be some changes that I'm going to have to make. I may have to do some cutting and splicing for the rear tail light panel. I know that's going to be a major change. And then there is a change to the front end. The marker lights on a 70 or a 69 to 72 are down in the bumper. 74, they're up in the grill. So that shouldn't be a big issue. That should just be rolling up and zip tying some excess wire and making it look nice. But the back end, there's some extra lights. So once I get to that back end and I realize what all I'm going to have to do, I know Classic Industries has a rear tail light harness for, I think it's like $85. And depending upon how long I think it's going to take me to make this American Auto Wire one work versus just buying the $85, I mean, I'm going to have to make that call. Maybe I'll just get a whole new harness. But we'll get the wiring in. That's probably going to take a week. I'm just gonna go out there unless I get a good solid weekend. I am on call this weekend, so I'm going to be here in the garage. My wife and son are going to be over on the other side of the state visiting some friends, so I'm going to have the place to myself. If I don't have to go out and work, I should be able to get quite a bit done in here. So I may be able to get this done this weekend, but I'm going to just bank on it taking a week because I've never done a wiring harness before. So the one piece of advice that I read was go slow and read the instructions. So I'm going to go slow and I'm going to read the instructions. And I'm going to follow the instructions. I do have quite a bit of background in electrical stuff, so it shouldn't be too bad. The instructions on the American Auto Wire stuff, I've flipped through them a little bit, and they look like they're pretty Barney style. So shouldn't have a real problem. But it's probably just going to take some time. Once we get that done, we're going to start working on putting this interior together because this thing, I think getting interior into a car is kind of like getting drywall up on a construction site. I think that's when you mentally click that the thing is getting back together. So for the interior, we're going to put another layer of this Noiko stuff on, and then I have some closed cell foam. I'll show you that when that time comes. That I'm going to lay on top of that, and then a carpet kit. And then we have all of our interior panels that are reconditioned. So as far as the interior goes and the carpet, and I want your guys' opinion, send me a message, leave me a comment. This car is this gunmetal gray, dark gray metallic color. The dash is also that color. I had him spray the dash that same color. I thought it would look cool. It does. It looks fantastic. I love the look of it. The dash pad is black. So I'm kind of at a crossroads. I don't know what I want to choose as far as the carpet color. Do I want to just go black because I got all black interior panels and black seats? Just go with the black carpet, or try to get a carpet that matches the color of the dash, this really dark gray dash. I'm going to order up a couple of samples from, I think it's Stock Interiors has the samples. And they have a couple different types of gray, and then they have black. Now I am going to buy a carpet kit for a 73. This is a 74, but I'm going to get it for a 73 because I got a carpet kit from a 74 last time, and it's a one piece, and it is just a pain in the butt to deal with. And it's a thick, they call it a plush cut pile. It's nasty. Dog hair gets trapped in it. Dirt gets trapped in it. You can't vacuum it out for crap. It doesn't look good. It wasn't fun to deal with because it was just this mammoth, one-piece, stiff piece of garbage. I'm hoping that the one from the 73, it's a two-piece, and it can come in the loop pile. So I'm hoping that will alleviate a little bit of that frustration. It'll look a little bit better. It'll go down a little bit better. But that's what I have to decide. I have to decide what carpet color to go with. So leave a comment, send me a message. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this series. I'm going to kind of judge on whether or not I keep going with this by how many people are viewing it. So if I fall off, I'm sorry. But if nobody's going to view it, then I'm just going to, why post them? I'm going to keep record of it, but if nobody's going to view it, I'm not going to spend the time to upload it. But hopefully you guys are enjoying this. We'll be making some noise shortly. I'm really hoping. So stay tuned. This thing will get done, and I'm hoping to get it done here within the next 3-4 weeks so that I can get it out on the road while it's still sunny. So thanks for watching, and look for another update here in another 4, 5, 6 days. Thanks, guys.